All right, I'm here with Secretary of Agriculture, Russell Redding. Russ, so good to do this
So
once
it's good
again.
to see you. Welcome back. Thank
All
you.
right, well,
Happy New
good,
Year.
certainly good to be back.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit. First of all, we were both at the scholarship breakfast this morning. 24 young people that received scholarships. One of the things that's always amazed me, not just down here, but as we go around the state, FFA banquets, 4-H banquets, the enthusiasm of these young people for agriculture.
Yeah.
Do you see that around the state? Because I certainly see it a lot.
I see it. I mean, and if somebody says they're in the 4-H, they're in the FFA, you know, they're in a special class of people, right? Because they already have made sacrifices. They know what hard work is. They're committed to their projects. They also know they have to deliver something, right? And it really puts them in a special class. We saw it today with the 24 recipients who are investing in their education. So it's a good feeling. I always come back here and look at that foundation and the work that they've done and say, we'll be okay, right? We've got really smart kids doing really good work for ag, so it's a good feeling.
And just staying along the lines of youth who want to get into agriculture, how do you see we're doing in terms of the education, whether it be higher education or post-secondary education, or even some in K through 12 with agriculture? The sciences, I know it's STEM week here. What are some of your thoughts as far as ag education in Pennsylvania?
Well, I mean, there's some, we're doing okay. Where we're challenged, I think, at two levels. One is having the parents and the kids sort of appreciate the opportunities of agriculture and what the jobs are, where those career pathways are. If you have an ag science program in your high school, you've got a head start, but that's not everywhere, right? So making sure that the parents and the kids are aware of what the jobs look like. Two, I think of just the larger society appreciation for ag and having them both appreciate what's here and what we need to do, where the workforce needs are. So we're doing okay, but I think in a second term here, we really want to focus on the workforce development issues. We've got the new Ag Commission, which I think is a great start. Really appreciate your help with that. Just getting started with it, but making sure that we're focused in on that industry need, what the workforce looks like, and how do we, supply that need, that the skills and competencies that the industry is looking for. Part of that will come through the FFA and 4-H. The part has to come through just rebuilding some programs.
Right. And do you see? I mean, this is the 103rd Farm Show. Do you kind of see this as a showcase opportunity for the ed side as well? Not just, I mean, could we work more of that into showing folks career paths and opportunities here at the show? Because you look around and you see a lot of non-ag people that are drawn to this great event that we do every year and keeps getting bigger and better.
Right. No, it's a great question because I think it's actually the sort of the hidden secret to this show. Is as much as I love agriculture and want to promote it, it's bringing other people into that conversation, either as consumers or hopefully as folks who want to work in this industry, right? So wherever we can talk about that, of technology, we have the Center County, which had the National Robotics team this year. We had them come in today and do a demonstration just to spark some interest, right? Kids may not think of agriculture needing any robots. You and I know, right, that all precision agriculture and equipment and milking equipment, et cetera, there's a lot of robotics in it. So those kind of things I think are great opportunities for us. But
every dairy barn that I tour now back in the district, you just see more and more technology that's being used, which of course also gets more expensive.
It's more expensive.
Let's stay on the dairy industry for a moment. With all that expense, obviously there's some price problems right now, or for the industry, they're going through some tough times. Kind of in the layman's perspective, two questions, because it's a big issue back in my district and I get the question all the time. What is the problem, A, or series of problems, and then how can we go about trying to make a dent in those problems?
Right. Well, I mean, there's both a national problem and a state problem, right? And just, in simple terms, the production is running ahead of consumption. Total dairy is up, but we've got more milk being produced than can be consumed. That's the national issue. In Pennsylvania specifically, our sort of keystone, if you will, in the dairy industry always was the fluid milk, which you buy in your home in half gallons or gallons. We're hit particularly hard because the consumption of fluid milk is decreasing while the other products like ice cream and cheese and yogurts are increasing. But we've always had a really heavy dependence on fluid milk. So we get it sort of both in the total but also in the state. So working hard to try to change that balance. I mean, I think if, as I've said to every dairy producer, if the total dairy consumption was down, I would worry, right? Total dairy is up, fluid milk is down. And we don't want to lose sight of that. I think it's a really important part of the conversation because people want to conclude there's not a future there. That's not where we are, right? There is a future. We have to do a better job of balancing out between the fluid and other products. That's our dairy study.
Does the advent of like this, what we call soy milk, which we know is not is not our fluid dairy milk or coconut, is that a part of the issue?
It is part of the issue.
Do we need to be more concerned about whether that's considered dairy or not, for instance, from our grocery stores and stuff like that?
Right. The FDA, Food and Drug Administration, has the authority. We're on the record as the governor, as the State Department of Agriculture, to ask the FDA to enforce the definition that they have legally today of milk. Right. And that definition does not include plant-based material, right? So the soy milk, the almond milk, those things that are liquids, and they may be nutritious, but they're not milk.
Right. So let's not call them milk.
Yeah, please. And then we've asked the retailers to please don't put those products in the dairy case in their grocery store. Mm-hmm. Put them over with the juices. Right. So that's part of the education. I'm on this campaign. I can buy a 6-pack of any beverage I want, except milk. I can't buy a 6-pack of milk. And I keep thinking to myself, surely, with soda and juices and water and beer and all that, we're in the beverage business. And that consumers have got to sort of look for us and think of us as a beverage. Then we have to compete with the packaging. So it's a long story, but I think it's all in this bucket.
Well, the Topper household still consumes a lot of milk, so we're trying to help.
Keep it up.
We're trying to help that industry as well. One of the other issues that we've had in our area, and I know has been statewide, is the amount of rain. I mean, we got hit this year with weather that we haven't seen. Who knows? Certainly since I've been alive, in terms of the amount of precipitation. How do you see us kind of bouncing back from that in the agricultural community? Is it just that dependent on the weather?
It's just a crazy 2018, right? I mean, 70 inches of rain in most parts of the state. Normal is 42. So anybody who makes their living in agriculture knows how difficult it was to get crops in the ground and in some cases even get them harvested, still harvesting. We turn the calendar to 2019. It's a reminder of just how price and weather dependent we are, and make sure that as we think about how to manage that risk, crop insurance becomes important. So I don't know. I'm hopeful that 2019 is whatever normal's defined as, but it's not 70 inches of rain.
Right.
Yeah, we just can't do back-to-back years like that. So
this is your second term with the Wolf administration.
Yeah.
Of course, you've been Secretary of Agriculture now for quite some time, with that little break in between.
Yeah.
What are some of your goals that you see for your department, or also for us in the legislature, that we can work on here in this upcoming session?
Right. I think a couple things that are on the high priority list. One, the workforce issue we talked about. I mean, there's not an employer, I don't care, Main Street or out on the farm, that aren't worried about the workforce. Right. Where the workers coming from, the right skills, the right competencies. We've made a lot of progress in the last term on workforce issues for ag, but very honest about it. We've got a lot of work to do, because historically, agriculture, for whatever reason, hasn't taken advantage of the traditional workforce development programs of the Commonwealth, right? Mm-hmm. I think so. We have to bring people along. So that's number one. Two, the issues of dairy plus for us, it is so important. We've got to get a continued investment around dairy, so working on that. The ag education we talked about as part of workforce, I want to continue to do that. We've got issues around just animal health and disease and plant health and disease, like the spotted lanternfly, which is a big issue for us, and has the potential to really make it difficult for us to do business, not just in Pennsylvania, but around the world. That's an issue, and personally just want to see greater sort of opportunities for agriculture around tourism, and those intersections of healthcare policy. I think having really good nutrition is part of really good health,
Right.
but that's not the way agriculture speaks of what we produce. I think there's an opportunity there. So
I agree.
yeah, there's a lot of.
So we're here at the farm show, which
Yes.
is the event that we're all talking about. Finally, just a last question. If folks want to come down from Bedford or Franklin or Fulton counties,
Yeah.
what are some of the new things that they're going to see here this year?
Yeah, so they're going to come in into the main floor where we're seated today, and we've completely rearranged the commodity area to be a farm market. So they used to see a display of apples or potatoes or cheeses and wines and stuff. All of that now is in a farm market. So you can both see the product, but you can also buy it. We think that's a really nice change. We have, competitive livestock exhibits that we've added. You can see the craft beer. If you want to know who the competitors are around the state and who's producing really good beer, it's here for the first time. The hard cider industry is here as well. A lot of good things around food and PA Preferred are on the stage. You name it. Every place you turn, there's another great story. Yeah.
Mr. Secretary, thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
Pleasure. Thank you. Happy New Year, too. Thank you.